Hi there, hope everyone's having a good day, and I just want to say thank you to all of my new subscribers and all of my old subscribers. I really appreciate every single person that has subscribed to my channel, and what I'm trying to do is to upload a new video every Thursday, so look out for videos on a Thursday. I haven't got a set time for it, but that's my plan, so it means that you'll know each Thursday you'll get a new video uploaded. So something I want to talk about today is definitely in line with the work I do as a counsellor, and it's definitely something which gets talked about quite a lot as well. How do you know if you have a good therapist? What are some of the signs that would lead you to feel this is a good therapist that I'm working with? So the reason I'm making this video is because for many people, one of the things that can put them off sometimes having therapy is their thoughts about their therapist. Now, the key parts to therapy really are how you get along with the counsellor or therapist. Things like whether you feel the methods that are being used are working, whether you feel that you're making any progress. There's so many factors that go into it. So I'm going to talk to you about 6 things that I feel demonstrate or highlight if you have a good therapist. Number 1 is that they support you, but they also challenge you for your benefit. So as a counsellor, I am someone that will challenge, but I'll do it in a supportive way. So what I mean by that is if someone is sat there and they're talking about something really distressing, or they're talking about an experience in their life that I feel an emotion towards, whether I get sad or feel something, but they're smiling as they tell that story, I might say, I notice you're talking to me about this and it feels really painful what you're saying, but when I look across at you, you're smiling. Is there something going on there? Are you smiling as a protective thing? Are you smiling because you don't want to cry? So I use the word challenge, but it's not necessarily challenging the person, it's pushing the person to connect with, what's happening, but also for their benefit. So as a counsellor, if you do things that you're for your own benefit, so you're challenging someone on what they've said, well, you didn't mean that, or when you said that, blah, 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 then that's completely different. But if you're helping the client to see things that they haven't seen before, but you're using gentle and supportive challenges, I feel that the client will become more aware of things, but they'll also have more progress. Number 2 is that you feel that there is a good rapport, a good bond between you and your therapist, and you trust them. Without trust, you can't have any form of therapeutic relationship. If you feel that your counsellor is only there because they want the money, if your counsellor keeps looking down at their watch all the time, or they seem distracted from you, or they seem tired, they're yawning, or they turn up late, or you just don't feel there's a bond, then there's going to be no progress, or the therapy isn't going to be that good. So it's the bond and the rapport is down to your therapist has to create that within the room, and a good therapist will be able to do that even via Skype or by phone. If you feel that each time you speak to your therapist it feels like there's nothing there, they're not giving you anything, they're not disclosing anything, and I'm not saying the therapist has to do that, but if you're talking about something really emotional and powerful, and there's times where I've disclosed things, and it might just be because I've suffered bereavement, and a client might be talking about bereavement. I'm not going to tell them my whole life story, but I may say I relate to that feeling because I know when this happened to me, I also felt that way, or I can see the sadness in your eyes, and it's making me feel sad as well. Can I just share with you that that was really powerful what you said? It's when you disclose, or when your client is talking, and as a therapist you connect on that level, what you're saying to them is, I hear you and I'm here with you, but I'm not in your shoes. So empathy isn't you know exactly what the person is going through. Empathy is standing alongside the person whilst they're going through it. So number 3 is reliability. If you have a therapist, and I've heard this story before myself, where they don't stick to what they say, they're always changing their appointment times, they're turning up late, they're cancel appointments, that's not going to build a good relationship between you and the client, because your client is putting trust in you as a person. in the time that I've been counselling for 10 years, I don't think I've cancelled many appointments, maybe one or two, and the only time I've cancelled is if there is literally an emergency, and it might be literally, it is life or death situation, and that's probably about it. I had a client once, it wasn't even a regular client, who needed a counselling appointment Christmas Day. I said I can't do Christmas Day, but I can do Boxing Day the day after. And because I wanted to show my commitment to that client, that I am reliable, and that we've built up a rapport, we've been having counselling sessions. The reason I couldn't go out Christmas Day anyway, the centre wasn't open, but even still, Christmas Day is the only day that I take as a full day off, apart from a few bank holidays. And it just was me saying to this client, you know, I'm your therapist, I'm there for you, so I can't do Christmas Day, but I can do the next day after. And she did turn up on the Boxing Day. And it is about, you want someone who's going to stick by you, you want someone who, your counsellor should be in your corner. You know, that's how I feel. Every single client I've worked with, I'm fighting for them. I'm fighting for them to have progress. I'm fighting for their things to improve. You know, when I see little steps, like I've worked at Women's Aid when I was a volunteer, and there were women that would come in and they're so distressed because of their being abused at home. They can't wear makeup because their boyfriend doesn't allow them to. They're not allowed to wear certain dresses. And then weeks down the line, they come turned up in their dresses and in their makeup. And it's like, wow, you know, they've came out of that relationship, they've moved forward. And that's what counselling is. A good therapist should be cheering for you. They should be doing the best to get you where you want to get to. So number 4, you should feel heard and listened to in a way that you've never felt before. Counselling is different from offloading to your family or your friends, because it's a service, and if you're paying for a service, then you don't want it to feel like you're just having a gossip and a chat with a cup of tea with your friend, because you can just go and do that. And the way I see it is that a counsellor should still be doing some form of interventions, whether those interventions are happening overtly, so straight away you're saying this is a strategy, or whether they're happening covertly, so your counsellor is using rapport, your counsellor is using little things, stepping in with certain interventions. It should be different from a normal discussion. And active listening sometimes takes many years for some counsellors to master, because to actually listen to someone and allow them to feel like they're being heard without interrupting, without looking at your watch, without looking bored, without, when people can tell you energy straight away. So with me as a counsellor, it's always about my energy. You know, I'm not someone that's going to book 10 appointments on one day, or book loads of appointments where I know I'm going to be tired, and then I'm turning up in the counselling room and just being, this is another client. I wouldn't do that. I'd rather have less clients where I can give them, all of them, 100% of me. So that's the 4th one. The 5th one is you feel like progress is being made. If you've been going for counselling for years and years, or months and months, and you still feel exactly the same way as you felt from the first visit, I'm not saying your counsellor can do miracles. There might be certain subjects or certain things you've experiences that they can put you on the journey or the path, but they can't promise, or they can't, guide you for things to be perfect. But if you've been coming for that amount of sessions and you still feel that nothing's changing, there's no movement in your thinking, there's no movement in your actions, there's no awareness there, there's no insights, then there's a problem there, because that shouldn't be the case. Your client should, at least if she's coming to see you regularly, or they should have some sort of progress. And that is definitely down to the counsellor on a certain degree, because that is the point. If we've been trained in a certain way and we know what we need to do to help that client at least get on the journey, but they're not getting on that path, we've got to look at ourselves and reflect and think, well, what's happening? Why is my client still in the exact same position? And the final thing is, they don't do the same thing for all the clients. A good therapist will look at you and then base the work or the program of work on your needs. It will be tailor-made. One of the best things I love about counselling is I don't know who's going to walk into the room or onto the screen if it's Skype. And I love that. I love a new client, because you don't know anything about them. You don't know You haven't built the rapport yet. But if you just tune into that person as an individual and you never do the same things over and over again, you can't treat all clients the same. So a good therapist will recognise that. They're not going to say, they might try the same approaches that they've used, I'm not saying that, but they need to tune into you, and clients will feel it. They will feel the difference. If they feel like you just do the same thing with everyone, you're using textbook therapy, they'll feel it. But if it's because you've been speaking to your therapist and they say, right, I thought this would be a good book for you because I recognise that we've discussed this in our therapy session, or I know that this will work for you because you've told me this and that. It just makes it more personalised, and I love doing that. I love getting to know my clients to a point where I can second guess what would work for them, where I can say, I have confidence that you can use this strategy because of what we've talked about. So they're some of the reasons. There are 6 things that can identify a good therapist. Now, you need to make that decision as a client. And the other thing you can do is, if you go to see a counsellor for the first session and you don't feel it, there's just no bond, there's no rapport, you just, whatever reason, you're allowed to just not go back. Well, you have to tell them. But what I'm saying is, don't feel that because you've chosen a counsellor that you have to commit for an amount of time. You can go and see as many different counsellors, and you can be clear with them that you're not sure yet, and you're going to see a few more counsellors, and then you're going to decide. So thank you for watching, and thank you again to all of my subscribers. I hope you found this video useful. Please feel free to like, to comment and to share, and have a great afternoon. I'll see you all again soon. Bye.